And this canal, what happened? The region, the edge between the ectoderm and the neural canal. Okay, this region is called as neural crest cells, which help in formation of peripheral nerves and dorsal nerve root ganglia. All these are formed by neural crest cells which are here. Then what happens? Gradually this will pass like this. Okay, the edges of these neural crest cells, okay, they come in closer with one another, and what happens? So there is a neural tube which is formed, neural tube. Okay, this gets separated, these both join together, and some of the cells settle on either side like this. Some of the cells will settle on both the sides. These are called as neural crest cells. There is formation of a neural tube, thickening, neural tube is formed, neural crest cells now. Okay, this is ectoderm, and here will be the notochord. Notochord will be here, okay, which signals the formation of the primitive brain structure. So this is neural tube is lined by ependymal cells. This is neural tube, okay. So the tube is lined internally by ependymal cells. So like this. Okay. So there is formation of a neural tube with ependymal cell lining. These ependymal cells proliferate and give rise to a structure called as mantle zone. This is called as mantle zone. The cells are proliferated by the ependymal cells itself. And this contain the cells, two types of cells. One is spongioblast cells and neuroblast cells. Neuroblast cells here, they help in formation of neurons. Okay, and if this is the neuroblast cell and this is the spongioblast cell, like that, completely, this is the mantle zone. Mantle zone is formed by ependymal cell itself, and center there will be a canal here. This is a canal. Okay, neural canal. So now what happens? From here the processes will start. It is made up of processes. Okay, very thin processes will start. Neurons will having axons and dendrite, and that will pass here. So like this. So there is encircling that there will be okay, the white matter. Okay, there is formation of white matter. What is white matter? Made up of cell processes of these neurons, and this is called as marginal zone. Mantle zone, marginal zone, ependymal lining membrane. Within that, this is the neural canal made up of cerebrospinal fluid. This is called as primitive brain structure. Primitive brain structure. Okay, then what happens? The cells will proliferate here with the nucleus, different nucleus takes the shape like this, and the marginal zone takes the shape like this. This is primitive brain structure which is present in brainstem also, means including medulla oblongata, pons and midbrain and the spinal cord. White matter is outside, grey matter is inside. But what happens is, because of so many functions which is happening in the body, represented by cluster of cell bodies of neurons which control the activity, sensory input and motor output, what happens is they will migrate. The cell bodies of neuron which are there in the grey matter, the grey matter itself migrate into the periphery in relation to cerebrum and cerebellum. Got it? Why? Because more accommodation can be done. Large surface area it will get. Within a constant, skull cannot enlarge. The volume is, it cannot be increased. So given in a given area, given space only, it has to accommodate so many millions of neurons. So what happens? The grey matter migrates into the periphery in cerebrum and cerebellum. So what happens? Cortical, we call it as cortical grey matter and medullary white matter in cerebrum and cerebellum. But here what happens? Grey matter is inside, white matter is outside. But in brainstem what happens? They are admixed. In midbrain pons, okay, except the lower part of medulla oblongata, in upper part of medulla oblongata also, white matter and grey matter are dispersed. Okay, not everything is outside grey, inside white like that. Grey matter here and there, they are distributed within the white matter like that. You can see in midbrain and pons. Still, white matter is outside only in the brainstem. Okay, so like that. So this is the type of architecture what you can see. The dorsal nerve root rami, dorsal nerve root ganglia, ventral nerve root rami. This is after passing through the intervertebral foramina. This is lateral intervertebral foramina. So as it emerges out the lateral vertebral foramina, it is called as root value. So this is anterior primary rami, which helps in formation of plexus. This is dorsal root, which is only supplying to the back of the trunk. This is about the spinal cord. So when you go on to the midbrain, the medulla oblongata, lower part is exactly like a spinal cord. Means in the center there will be central canal which is passing. Okay, and it has got this, but the architecture differs. What happens here is this posterior, we were discussing about the posterior area. So posterior area of medulla oblongata is made up of 3 elevations. 1, okay, 2, white matter. Fasciculus means fibers are passing like this. Fibers, posterior. This is posterior. Fibers will be passing here like this. This is fasciculus gracilis, fasciculus cuneatus, spinal tract of trigeminal nerve. Fasciculus gracilis, fasciculus cuneatus, spinal tract of trigeminal nerve. Within the spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, you can see spinal nucleus of trigeminal nerve. Within the tract of fasciculus cuneatus, you can see
nucleus cuneatus.
At the topmost, uppermost part of posterior area of medulla oblongata, you can see nucleus cuneatus. Within that, you can see one more, nucleus gracilis. Nucleus gracilis, nucleus cuneatus, nucleus of spinal tract of trigeminal nerve. This is spinal tract, white matter is spinal tract of trigeminal nerve. This is fasciculus cuneatus. This is fasciculus, like that this side also. Okay, same. 1. Okay, like this. You can spread this here. Okay, we can shift this here. Okay, central canal. Got it now? See?
Roots.
Exactly like this. Roots ಬೇರೆ. ಈಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? ಈಗ ಇದಾಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಲ್ಯಾಟ್ರಲ್ ಎಲಿವೇಶನ್ ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೈಡ್ ಎಲಿವೇಶನ್. ಈ ಸೈಡ್ ಎಲಿವೇಶನ್ ಏನು, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಏರಿಯಾ there is one more elevation which is called as inferior cerebellar peduncle. After spinal tract of trigeminal nerve, there is one more elevation called as inferior spinocerebellar peduncle. ಓಕೆ, ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಟೀರಿಯರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ? ಸೊ ಆ್ಯಂಟೀರಿಯರ್ ಏರಿಯಾ this is anterior median fissure, exactly like that of spinal cord. Okay, on either side there is elevated region called as pyramid. This is pyramid. Okay, so pyramid contain fibers. ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಕಲರ್ ಇಡಬೇಕು. ಈ ಗ್ರೇ ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ರ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ವೈಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟ್ರಲ್ಲೇ ಯೆಲ್ಲೋ ಕಲರ್ ಏನಾರು ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ I can also like this. Okay, this is corticospinal tract. ಕಲರ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದು. This is anterior median fissure. This is corticospinal tract. Okay, and next to it there is the olive shaped swelling. Here what happened? Just lateral to the pyramid, anterolateral sulcus. Okay, so this gray matter is inside. Here what happens? Anterolateral sulcus. What is coming out from anterolateral sulcus? Huh? What is coming out here as rootlets? 1 2 3 ರೂಟ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೈಪೋಗ್ಲಾಸಲ್ ನರ್ವ್ ಈ ರೂಟ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೀಗೆ
ಕಲರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಈ ಥರ ಕಲರ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಕೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ
ಕೊಡು ಯಾವುದಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಕೊಡು.
ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಹಿಟ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ
ರೂಟ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್. These are the rootlets emerging, and this will emerge from here like this, total length, and then forms hypoglossal nerve. In between olive, this is olive, in between olive and pyramid there is the anterolateral sulcus from where the hypoglossal nerve will be emerging like this. It will not emerge directly. So many rootlets throughout the length of the medulla oblongata. Okay, this is the hypoglossal nerve. Okay, then comes olive. So just between olive and inferior cerebellar peduncle, here will be the inferior cerebellar peduncle. So olive will be oval in shape. I will show complete oval. Here what happens? Here there will be one more nucleus separate from the grey matter, and that is called as inferior olivary nucleus in this region. It is separate from here. Okay, not related with the grey matter. Separate cluster of cell bodies of neuron called as inferior olivary nucleus. Okay, then comes, if after the inferior olivary nucleus, so between the here anterolateral, then comes the posterolateral. So from the posterolateral, this is the olive. Okay, inferior cerebellar peduncles. Posterolateral, what happens here? There will be emergence of 3, one below the other, craniocaudal sequence, glossopharyngeal, vagus and accessory nerves emerges. ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆಗ 3 nerves emerges from posterolateral sulcus. Posterolateral sulcus. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಆಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ಯಾಟ್ರಲ್ ಸಲ್ಕಸಿಂದ ಹೈಪೋಗ್ಲಾಸಲ್, ಪೋಸ್ಟೋಲ್ಯಾಟ್ರಲ್ ಸಲ್ಕಸಿಂದ ನಾಸೋಫೆರೆಂಜಿಯಲ್, ವೇಗಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಸೆಸರಿ. ಅದಾಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಮೇಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಪೋಸ್ಟಿಯರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್. ಇದೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ, ಇದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ಹೀಗೆ ಮೇಲಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೀಗೆ. ಸೊ posteriorly, this is called as posterolateral zone. Now this is called as posterolateral zone. So posterolateral zone ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, it is covered by a thin sheet of ependymal cell cover ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So this forms the fourth ventricle. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ವೈಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್. ಆಯಿತಾ? ಇನ್ ಗ್ರೇ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಜರ್ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಾಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಥಿನ್ ಲೇಯರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಪೆಂಡಿಮಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಇದು ಏನಿದೆ ಪೆನ್ದು ಇದು ನಿಬ್ಬು ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಈ ಏರಿಯಾಗೇನಿದೆ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟೋರಿಯಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ this one. So when you take the posterior surface of the fourth ventricle,